While Turnus triumphs, dealing death across the plains, the true Achates, Mnestheus, and Ascanius, his comrade, bring the bleeding Aeneas into camp. He limps along, supporting every other step with his long spear, and in his rage he tries to wrench the arrow by its broken shaft. He calls for any ready way to help, to cut the wound out with a broadsword, and to lay naked the arrow's deepest hiding place, to send him back to battle. Now Iapix, the son of Iasus, drew near. He was dearest above all other men to Phoebus. To him Apollo, struck by piercing love, once wished to give his arts, his gifts, his power of augury, his lyre, and his swift arrows. Iapix, to delay his dying father's fate, chose to know instead the powers of herbs, the ways of healing, and to practice these, the silent arts, unhonored. Wild and bitter, Aeneas, propped upon his giant spear, stood near that crowd of warriors, beside the mourning Iülus, but unmoved by tears. And old Iapix, sleeves rolled back, dressed in the manner of physicians, with his healing hand and the potent herbs of Phoebus, tries again, in vain. In vain he tugs the dart and grips the steel with grasping tongs. Good fortune does not guide his path. His teacher Apollo does not help him. More and more the savage horror is loud upon the plain. Disaster draws much nearer. Now the sky seems like a wall of dust. The riders rush. The shower of shafts is thick upon the camp. The wretched cry of warriors climbs the air, of men who fall beneath the tenacious Mars. But then Aeneas's pain, unmerited, distresses Venus. With a mother's care she plucks from Cretan Ida, Dittany, a stalk with leaves luxuriant and shaggy, and purple flower, a plant not unfamiliar to wild goats when they are wounded by winged arrows. This Venus, with black mist to hide her face, now carries down. With this she medicates, in secret, waters poured in gleaming vats. She steeps the plant and sprinkles healing juices of scented panacea and ambrosia. And old Iapix, unaware of this, then bathes Aeneas' wound with that same liquid. And suddenly all pain fled from his body, and all the blood held fast in that deep wound. And following Iapix's hand, the arrow, unforced, fell out. Fresh strength returned to him. Quick, bring his weapons. Why do you delay? Iapix shouts, the first to stir their spirits against the Latins. This is not the work of mortal hands or skillful art. My craft has not saved you, Aeneas. Here there is a greater one, a god, who sends you back to greater labors. He is hot for combat. He sheathes his legs on this side and on that with golden greaves. He hates to linger here, and brandishes his spear. Then to his flank his shield is fitted, to his back his corslet. And dressed in mail he hugs Ascanius, and through his helmet gently kisses him. From me, my son, learn valor and true labor. From others learn a fortune. Now my arm will win security for you in battle, and lead you toward a great reward. Only remember, when your years are ripe, your people's example, let your father and your uncle, both Hector and Aeneas, urge you on. This said, he marched out through the gates, a giant. A great shaft quivers in his hand, and Antheus and Mnestheus also hurry out at once, and all the Trojan crowd abandons camp. Then blinding dust confounds the plains, the earth is panicked by their pounding feet and shudders. Turnus could see them from a facing mound. The Latins saw. Cold trembling took their bones. The first of the Ausonians to hear, Juturna, and she recognized the sound and fled in terror. He, Aeneas, races and drives his dark band on the open plain, even as, when a sudden squall has fallen, a storm cloud moves to land from open seas, and luckless farmers, seeing it far off, shudder within their hearts, for it will bring destruction to their orchards, kill their crops, and cut down every planting. And the winds fly fast before it, roaring toward the shore. Just so the Trojan chieftain drives his troops straight at his enemies. His soldiers muster around him, thickly, all in compact ranks. Thymbraeus strikes the huge Osiris with his sword, and Mnestheus kills Arcetius, Achates, Epulo, and Gaius, Ufens. Tolumnius, the augur, also falls. He was the first to break the truce, to cast his shaft against the enemy. A shout mounts to the sky, wheeling about the Latins. In turn now give their backs, clouded with dust, to flight across the fields. Aeneas does not deign to strike down fugitives to death. He does not charge at those who meet him now on foot or horse or flinging darts. He only wants Turnus. Through that dark cloud he seeks out Turnus. He calls on him alone to battle. Then terrified Juturna, warrior maiden, flings out Metiscus, Turnus's charioteer. From in between the reins, she pushes him far from the pole. He falls, and she takes up his place. Her hands hold fast the rippling reins. In everything she counterfeits Metiscus, his voice and body and his armor, even as a black swallow, when it flies across some wealthy lord's vast villa, hovers, circling the high halls on its wings. It scavenges for scanty crumbs and food for its loud fledglings. And now it calls to empty porticos, and now around the damp cisterns. Just so Juturna is carried by her chargers through the enemies in her swift chariot. While racing, she scans everything, and now here and now there displays her victor brother, but will not let him set his hand to battle, Aeneas. Deviously she flies far. Nevertheless, Aeneas tracks the winding course. He is seeking Turnus, and he shouts aloud for Turnus through the routed troops. As often as Aeneas catches sight of him and races toward the wing-footed horses, so often does Juturna wheel about and turn her chariot. What can Aeneas do now? In vain he wavers on the shifting surge of his feeling. His conflicting cares invite his mind to try this plan, then that. But now Messapus, dexterous, moves against him. With a sure blow he hurls the first of those two pliant, steel-tipped javelins he carried. Aeneas stopped. He drew himself together behind his shield. He bent down on one knee. But even so, the hurtled shaft took off his helmet crest and shook his highest plumes. At this, indeed, Aeneas's anger seethes, excited by the treachery of Turnus, whose chariot and horses have been carried far off, and having often pleaded with Jove in the altars of the shattered treaty, at last Aeneas charges into battle, and terrible, with Mars behind him, he awakens brutal, indiscriminate slaughter. He lets his violence run free.